So continuing with the cardiovascular system, guys, the lecture today is about the blood flow control in the skeletal muscles. We have already talked about the control of blood flow in the pulmonary tissue. Renal blood flow control is done with the renal lectures. Same for the GIT. We will also do skin, cerebral, and coronary blood flow. So this lecture is about the skeletal muscle blood flow. What we need to understand is the blood flow at resting state and in active state. In both states, when we are active, when we are exercising, what happens to the blood flow to the muscles, and when we are at rest, what happens to the blood flow to the muscles. So keep this in mind. Muscles during the rest have extrinsic control for their blood flow. That means overall global blood flow controlling mechanisms will control the blood flow to the muscles. So they are participant with the rest of the body. But as soon as muscles become active, as soon as we start doing exercises, then the muscle need to have their own blood flow so that they can receive the blood for their activity. So in that case, the blood flow will become autoregulation or intrinsic. So at rest, extrinsic, and during the exercise, the blood flow of a skeletal muscle is intrinsic or autoregulation. So let's see the extrinsic blood flow. That also is slightly different from the rest of the tissues. Normally, the blood flow is controlled by two mechanisms extrinsically, actually three mechanisms. One is the sympathetic system and the parasympathetic system. These are the two systems. Third is hormonal control like angiotensin system and other such chemical substances. In case of skeletal muscles, what is important is to understand that sympathetic activity has beta 2 effect that is predominant as compared to alpha 1 effect. Alpha 1 effect on the smooth blood vessels, we have done the microscopic and molecular structures and functions in a separate lecture. What happens is that when alpha 1 receptor is activated, it is a GQ linked receptor, and when that is activated, it causes the smooth muscles. So this is a blood vessel here. It causes the smooth muscles in the wall of the blood vessel to be contracted, and it reduces the diameter. Beta 2 is also a sympathetic receptor. It also is innervated by the sympathetic nerves. However, the effect of the beta 2, it is a GS connected protein. It is a G stimulatory protein receptor. And when beta 2 receptor is stimulated, it causes vasodilation. Now, normally, sympathetic activity causes vasoconstriction in tissues like subplanchnic tissue or renal tissue or skin. So blood is redistributed, blood is moved away from these tissues and brought to skeletal tissues. So what will you like in the skeletal tissue? Alpha 1 activity or beta 2 activity? Alpha 1 activity, sorry, beta 2 activity, because you want the blood vessels to be dilated. So in case of sympathetic activity, skeletal muscle at rest is responsive to sympathetic activity. It is extrinsically controlled, and the control is with the beta 2 receptors predominantly than the alpha 1. Of course, if you send a lots of alpha 1 stimulants, then you would cause alpha 1 effect as well. For example, if you send epinephrine in low doses, it would trigger the beta 2, but if you continue to increase the dose, finally it would occupy the alpha 1 as well and trigger them and cause vasoconstriction. So here at rest, just remember this, beta 2 sympathetic receptors will be activated. These will cause the blood vessels to dilate. So skeletal muscle vessels at rest, sympathetic activity, dilation. Now, what will happen when there is activity? So when there is activity, then the skeletal muscle blood flow control becomes intrinsic, and actually extrinsic controls become unresponsive. What that means is that alpha 1, beta 2, beta 2 are still working. Alpha 1 receptors become totally non-responsive to the sympathetic activity. So that means if I'm exercising and during that I hear something exciting, my skeletal muscles are not going to have a vasoconstriction. They are not going to reduce the blood flow. because they need extra blood flow because we are working and the muscles are active. So what is happening in that case? During the active state, during the exercise, the metabolic mechanisms, metabolic mechanics become active. That is the intrinsic regulation, that is the auto-regulation. So what happens is when a muscle is active, it produces lactic acid, it produces potassium ions, lots of hydrogen ions, and nitric oxide. All of these metabolites will act on the smooth muscle of the blood vessel wall, and that would cause the blood vessel smooth muscle to relax and the diameter to increase. We have talked about the mechanisms for how this happens. Now also remember that nitric oxide is also released by the endothelial cells present in the tissue that is active, and that diffuses back to the smooth muscles in the tunica media and causes the relaxation through the cyclic GMP pathway, causing the myosin light chain phosphatase to become activated. So that is how these relaxations occur. We've done the molecular mechanism separately in this series, so I do not have to repeat that here. And so during the exercise now, if there is sympathetic stimulation, if it is beta 2, that would still have some effect and the vasodilation would still happen. But if it is alpha 1 receptors become totally non-responsive. So there will be no vasoconstriction. And finally, skeletal muscles are also, of course, their blood vessels are also responsive to angiotensin 2. So if angiotensin 2 is present, remember angiotensin 2 receptors are present in the blood vessel smooth muscles and also on the endothelium. Again, this is a lecture that we have already done. When the angiotensin 2 connects with the smooth muscle, it causes the constriction. So vasoconstriction, when angiotensin 2 stimulates the receptors on the smooth muscle. However, it causes vasodilation. So if this is angiotensin 2 and it connects to the receptor on the endothelium, not on the smooth muscle, then this pathway releases nitric oxide, and that would cause smooth muscle relaxation. So that is vasodilation. So what is the function of angiotensin 2 trying to do vasodilation? The theory is that as angiotensin is a potent vasoconstrictor, it tries to balance itself out by doing some vasodilation as well so that the blood vessel does not totally collapse. So that is the mechanism for the intrinsic regulation or auto-regulation during the exercise. One more thing that happens during the exercise is that if this is a skeletal muscle, so let's say this is biceps, and the person is doing biceps crunches or exercising. So as the muscle pumps, what it does is it will move the blood out with force. It would pump the blood. So there is a mechanical pumping action for the blood flow as well during the exercise. So skeletal muscles do that too. So what are you going to remember now about the skeletal muscles? Number one, at rest, sympathetic activity, beta 2 activity predominant than the alpha 1 activity, so vasodilation. In case of activity, the intrinsic control would take over. That would be metabolites. So we've gotten lactic acid, potassium ions, hydrogen ions, and nitric oxide. These will cause vasodilation. Sympathetic or extrinsic control would also become blocked when the exercise is happening. Then the muscle pumping itself would also cause the blood flow circulation. And finally, the endothelium in the local working tissue would also create the metabolites that would help relax the muscle, blood vessels. Thank you.